Hello, you incredible human beings. I've got Benny Slore coming on with me for this podcast. And the reason why I invited Benny on is because he's one of the coolest clients that we've ever had. Like, as you can probably tell from the number of cool clients I have on here, we have a lot of cool clients. But Benny is a genuine legend. And the reason why you should listen to Benny is because he's done some cool stuff. Like, first of all, he lives down in Tasmania, all the way down south, and it's a little bit chilly down there. And one year, Benny realized that there are a lot of people in Tassie who were going cold, and he was worried that a lot of people who didn't have money, who were elderly and whatnot, wouldn't be able to look after themselves through the winter. So Benny takes it upon himself to cut up a metric shitload of firewood and deliver it around to all of those people in need. He didn't want anything from it. He got media recognition from it. He didn't even want that. He's just a really genuine bloke. That describes the type of person that Benny is. On top of that, too, when Benny came to us from where he was when he started to where he is now, he is a totally different person. He is conquering life every single day in every single way. And it is an immense pleasure of mine to be able to say that Benny's a part of our crew. He's a part of our tribe. He's a leader within the JCF community. And we're really, really blessed to have him. If you want to learn about leadership, if you want to learn how to up level, if you want to learn how to be totally determined and undeterred by the fear of failure, listen to Benny Slore, listen to this interview, because I think that you'll get a lot from it. I hope you enjoy it. Here he is.
Hey, legend, how are you?
Hey, good. I like that shirt. Where'd you get it?
Oh, man, just hooked up with these cool dudes over in Queensland, eh?
Yeah?
Yeah, went over to do a bit of personal wealth and health retreat. Yeah, and to be honest, it's I like the color, and I don't have any silicone or glue on it yet. Yeah, so that's a bonus, man.
It's like your dress shirt now.
Yeah, man, I wear this everywhere to church and all. Starting a new freaking craze.
100%, man. All right, yeah. By the way, are you cool if we just dive straight in, because it's already recording?
Go for it.
Dude, and also, thanks for coming on, bro, because I was super keen to get you on. It was actually weird that we haven't got you on earlier. But I was really keen to get you on and go through your story, because you've done a heap of cool stuff. And like in the intro to this, I told the guys, and they'll say it like when they're viewing the recording, I mentioned how a couple of years back you chopped up all that firewood and you went around and you gave it to a heap of people. Can you run us through what you did there?
Yeah, well, it's just I was just up the top block here where I live in Dysart, and I think it was April 2020, and it was freezing, man. I was like, I'm used to the cold. But I said to the guy that was living here, I said, fucking hell, it's cold. He said, yeah, it's freezing. I said, imagine how many kids out there and old people that are just looking at their wood eaters and they're freezing their ass off because they've got no wood or they're cold and they've got no money. And I thought, geez, we've got enough wood up here. So I just put a post up on Facebook and said, this was COVID, so we wasn't really allowed to go anywhere. It wasn't allowed to do much, just essential. It was right at the beginning of COVID. And I put this post up on Facebook, and heaps of people just reached out, and like, it was a little bit overwhelming, actually. And so I started
just because of the volume of people.
Yeah, and the amount of attention that it got, I don't like attention that much. So I was like, fucking hell. I had chicks sending me messages saying, oh, you're such a nice guy, and you've got
I bet you hated that.
Yeah, I wasn't really into it and that. And like,
it's a tough life, man. We need to get you one of those sticks to like fend them off.
Yeah, well, I need one now. That's for sure. Yeah, and it just went ballistic. Next thing you know, I had radio stations calling me up, and I think it got into the paper or some shit, and then Yahoo Australia featured it on their thing, and I'm like, oh God, this is crazy. But what we ended up doing in the end, I ended up just giving away 70 ton of firewood.
70
so I'd load up. Yeah, it was a fair bit, and it was hard getting firewood too, because we had to split it with a log splitter and stuff, but I kind of just treated it like exercise. And some of the people was just so appreciative, low socioeconomic stuff. I was going down into some areas in Hobart that just like, there's no money there, and it's all sort of government housing and stuff like that. And one lady in particular, she said, oh, it's great. My adopted son here. She sort of adopted her off the son off her daughter or whatever, and there was a bit of a different sort of situation. And she said, oh, he loves to get warm before he goes and plays football. So it was just a nice thing to do, and something that I'll probably continue doing in the future too, really.
Have you done it since?
Yeah, well, we continued to give it away after the 70 ton that we've given away. And then I hadn't sort of done anything this year, but I kind of give away all the firewood that I had in the spots to get. But I've got a gorge chocker block full of it just down the hill. It just requires a little bit more time to get down there and get it. And I bought myself a backhoe so I can go down there. And we're actually Tess and I are going to set up a page so people can donate and pay forward for firewood and stuff like that. And what I did find, though, was there's lots of people that had, like, they could afford $20 a week or $40 or $50 a week, but they couldn't come up with, $150 in a week to buy a ton of firewood. So I said, Tess and I, we've been discussing it, and we said, well, why don't we just set up an afterpay system, and we go and cut a heap of wood. We get other people to cut the wood as well, deliver it around to these people that can afford to pay $20 or $30 a week, and they can just pay it off on tick. So that's something I'll do in the future, and give it away as well. I've got plenty of wood, and there's plenty of other people out there that can get wood, or they've got access to properties that do have it. So maybe some other people will catch on and start being a bit more kind and stop worrying about the money so much, and more so the kids and the older people and the disadvantaged that could use a good warm-up.
Yeah, totally. You've done a lot of cool stuff like that, and I'd love to go through a bit more of it. I mean, you also do. You're a builder by trade, is that right?
Yeah, builder joiner.
And then you started studying to become. Oh, you're an EMMETT practitioner now.
Yeah, I'm up into the expert practitioner levels now. So
yeah, can you run through what EMMETT is and why you decided to go down that path?
Oh man, I was competing in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournaments, and I was fat and unfit, and I just was dominating though. Like, I was winning Pan Pacific championships, and was going all right. But I was getting sore all the time, and I was spending heaps of money on a chiropractor, osteopath, physiotherapist, acupuncturist. That was one that actually worked. But I was getting a very small result for a short period of time. And I was like, wow, this is costing a lot of money. They're getting me right for a week or so, and then it's just not, the pain's coming back, all those difficult spots, and I couldn't really perform at the optimum level that I was, what I wanted to be at. So one of my mates, he's a boxer, he said, why don't you go and see Stefan? I said, what does Stefan do? He said, Stefan just pokes you with his fingers and shit like that. I'm like, oh, yeah, that sounds all right.
Good.
$45, you beauty. So I went and seen Stefan, and no shit, within about 5 minutes, he done some work on the psoas minor and major muscle. So I was working through on either side of the navel and in the 12th rib location on the back. And I just started spinning out. Like, I said, fuck, man, what are you doing? I was like, I was fairly religious at the time. I was writing the scriptures and stuff like that. And I thought, this is energy work. I don't know whether I like this too much. Could be some nasty shit going on here. And I said, what is this? This is not a voodoo or anything like that. And he said, no, it's nothing to do with voodoo, man. This is just a clean, straight body therapy. And then I started rocking backwards and forwards, and it felt like I'd taken ecstasy. I was like really euphoric, and my head was just spinning, and I was like, wow, this is fucking insane. And then I started drilling him about the spiritual side of it, and he stopped me and said, what's your shoulder feel like though? And I couldn't get it past, a little bit past 90 degrees beforehand, and within 5 minutes he'd fixed it. And I'm like, far out, man. If you can do this next week when I come back, I want to learn this. And he said, no, you won't have to come back next week. And sure enough, I didn't have to go back next week, but I still did. So I went back the next week, and he started talking about the stuff in my lower back. And I'm like, how do you know I've got something wrong on my lower back? He said, no, I can tell. I'm like, all right, no worries. And he started talking about things, and then we started delving into, some grief that I experienced when my brother died when I was 15. And he just unlocked all that stuff. Next thing you know, I'm just bawling my eyes out, standing there and fucking sobbing. I'm like, wow. And he released all this emotional pain that was stored up in the lower back. And I'm like, wow. So I pestered the shit out of Ross Emmett, the guy that developed it, and another fellow named Tim Donahue, who trained me. And it wasn't really, back then, like, it wasn't fully open for everyone to just go and do. You sort of had to have a different modality, and they liked you to be a masseuse or a bone therapist or something like that. But then they sort of said, no, well, you're perfect for it because you haven't been tainted by any other modalities. And I went, all right, cool. And then I dove straight into it, and I was lucky enough to have 5 people at my home. So I practiced on them. So for 21 days after I'd do a training session, I'd do a treatment on each of the people that was at my home every day, just to practice it and just reinforce it. Then blokes on the building sites, I was fixing their backs and I was fixing their knees, and I got really good at looking at people's bodies and just observing their movements and their pain triggers. And then I sort of dove into a bit deeper, and I ended up going right through. I'm only about 4 modules away from completing, or 3 modules away from completing all that you can ever learn in it. So, but I've done over 3,000 treatments. What I did was to really hone on that skill. I treated everyone for free, and then I got up to 868 treatments, and I went, oh, fuck. They were bringing their 13-year-old sons and daughters, and, I'd fix the mum, and then she'd bring her mum, and then they'd bring their daughters and sons. And it's like, well, really, I probably should start making something out of this, a living out of this. So I'm investing a lot of time into it. And it's still a big passion of mine. Like, I fixed the oldest dude that I've ever fixed up. He was 85 years old. And then I went away. I'd done 3 treatments on him within 3 weeks and nailed it. And then I went away for 5 weeks. And I got stuck in Victoria. Come back from Victoria, and I rang him up and I said, oh, Henry, gee, I'm really sorry, man. I've been stuck in Victoria. And he said, I'm really sorry, Ben. I'm like, oh, shit, what's going on? He's like, I don't need to see you again, mate. Whatever you done to me last time, you fixed me. And he was going to lots of different other people. So I love doing that. It's a pretty cool thing to do. It's sort of you work on your neurotransmitters, neuroreceptors. So there's all these little receptors for your brain to communicate with your muscles and your limbs for you to be able to move. And they need a little receptor in there. There's little receptors just under the face for the skin. So, and in muscle creases, so you just hold them super, super light pressure. And the other thing I really liked about it, I didn't have to do too much work, man. I can fix someone in 15 minutes, and I don't have to rub them and do all this. It's not invasive of their private space, unless we've got to deal with some stuff in the gracilis, or, hamstrings are a bit of a funny spot to release.
Yeah.
And it's really good for all body sizes, and whether most of my clients are women, menopausal, premenopausal, going through menopausal or postmenopausal. So we do a lot of lymphatic drainage work as well. That's really cool stuff. Marcus,
lymphatic system's exciting. That's like the next big thing. I think that as we start exploring more and more and learning more about it, it's going to be a game changer.
Yeah, for sure. Well, just from the results, I would have done at least 300 lymphatic drainages by now. And the results that I see in people afterwards, I had a lady that I'd done down at the Falls Festival. So we set up a camp down at the Falls Festival, go and work down there every year when it was on in Tassie. And I'd set up a table and have this wicked sort of camp zone. We've got this, it's called the Tone Zone after Tone, because he comes down there. And before we even worked there, Tone and I used to just go down there, and we'd go down on the 26th of December. The festival site wasn't even open, man. We'd just go down there and we'd party before the festival. And then stay down there to the 2nd. Everyone's gone, and you just watch it all evolve. But anyway, we set up a massive camp zone with Persian rugs and couches, and cook down there, take our dogs and all sorts of shit. But this lady was there, and she was all puffy in the face, super fit, super athletic, vegetarian, really, really nice woman, beautiful to look at. Just got into menopause, and she said, "Oh, Benny, I've just gotten all puffy in the face and returning fluid." I said, "Would you like me to do a lymphatic drainage on you?" She said, "Yeah, that'd be fantastic." So I did the lymphatic drainage, and about, 40 minutes later, she said, "Oh, I'm feeling a bit sick." And I did warn her that she could purge from it. So I walked over away from the campsite a bit and sat down on the grass and had a chat and cuddle. And next thing you know, she's purged. And then about 5 minutes after purging, she just went, "Wow, I feel heaps better." And all the fluid had gone from her face and her limbs and stuff like that. and she was shining and glowing, man. It was really incredible. I went, fuck, I'm hooked on this.
That's a game changer, man. That lymphatic stuff's unreal. I did a heat recently with my acupuncturist up here. I got a really, really good one. Very fortunate to find a good one. It's like you feel like shit at the start of the drainage stuff, but then eventually as you clear that crap out, it's insane how much leaner you look, how much better you feel, how much more energetic you are. It's nuts. It's unreal. But so you're a healer yourself, right? And so why did you reach out to us? Why'd you, because I remember our chat a few years ago now. Why'd you decide to reach out?
It was on the 9th of February, actually. You called me on the 9th of February, 2020.
Yeah.
That's when you give me a call. I was down looking at a job for a hairdresser that she's just one of the most beautiful people on the planet. And I've known her all my life, and then you called and I'm like, well, I just wanted to better myself a bit, and I'd started to get a little bit more health aware and health conscious, and I seen you on Facebook, and just the way that you talked, I was like, man, I can relate to this dude. And you started talking about testosterone. And I had a feeling that my testosterone levels were low, and I thought,
why? What feeling did you have?
I just wasn't feeling. My mojo wasn't really running that well, and I'm super sexual, so it wasn't that. It was more so that my energy levels, I just didn't feel like a man. I couldn't burn fat very well. The fat, I just could create fat, but I just couldn't get rid of it. I'm like, this is bullshit. And I'd always thought, it's just in my genes and all this sort of stuff. And I started reading books like Dr. Joe Dispenza books and stuff like that. And I thought, no, hang on a minute. This ain't in my genes. It doesn't have to be there at all. I can completely make a different outcome to my life than what my family's gone through. And my old man's, he was a massive human, but super athletic. He'd swim 3 kilometers a day. He was an inspirational human being. Like, he's a machine. They don't call him Bear for no reason. Like, he was a mountain of a man, but he could run 50 meters and so fast and smash on the football field, you'd break your bones. So we've always been athletic, but we've always been large too. And then my grandmother died of a heart attack. My grandfather died of a heart attack. My father's had a heart attack. My uncle Barry, who's Dad's brother, he had a heart attack. And I thought, fuck, I don't want to have a heart attack. There's no reason I need to have a heart attack. So I wanted to, just get into the most optimal mental and physical health and sort of, learn some new stuff. Like, I didn't know much about health. Like, I was competing in sports and winning and having a real good crack, but I thought, I can be better than this, man. It has to be easier. It was fucking hard. Like, this has to be easier. There must be some hacks and stuff like that. And then I caught a couple of your videos, and I like the fact that you didn't hold back and you didn't bullshit. There was no, and you didn't give a fuck if you said fuck. I'm like, yeah, this dude's a legend. He's swearing on Facebook and getting away with it. I love it.
Dude, you would be amazed at how many people want to sign up to our program because I swear profusely.
My grandfather was the Wolfie, mate, so I swear.
I grew up in the mines. I know what you're talking about. Well, so then when you started with us, like, what was, and obviously been with us for a while now, what was your experience like? Because you're working with Christian, obviously. What was your experience like with him?
First of all, I was a little bit reluctant. I was like, fuck, I signed up at JCF for James Cant. Like, what's going on? And then got to know Christian, and I sort of, and he's a no bullshit guy either. Like, because of my lifestyle and the way that I am, I'm flat out, I'm busy all the time. And I missed a few calls, and he actually put me in check over that. And I'm like, fuck, man, not many people do that to me. I'm like, all right, sorry, Christian, I'm going to make this time. I've got this time out now, and you've got my attention. I'm really sorry about that, and I value your time. So here we are, and we've become really great mates. Not only that, he keeps me in check too. Like, I got a call with him at 6 o'clock tonight, and we kind of done it at 6 o'clock tonight, so he doesn't have to go to another call, because we'll probably talk for a couple of hours. And when I got dialed in, well, now I've been dialed in with the program, man. I'm at 90. I'm fluctuating now at 90 kilos, and fucking muscles are just popping out of me. Like, I'm getting really, really, I'm really fit. And I sleep well, digestive system's in check. I do all the supplements, man. My partner had COVID. I brushed my teeth with her toothbrush accidentally when she was in the middle of this COVID thing, and I thought, I picked up the electric brush and cleaned my teeth. Then I looked down and I went, oh, that's my electric brush there. Fuck. And I thought, oh, no. Well, anyway, I'm not going to get this shit. I didn't catch COVID. I've been surrounded. One of my ex-employees, he had COVID, didn't get it. My old man got it. Next door neighbours got it. I was spending time there with them. Didn't get it. It's like, well, whatever we're doing, whatever I'm doing, and I do the program pretty well. It's working. I'm fit. I'm losing weight. I'm still losing weight. I'm actually growing muscles that I can actually flex my chest in the mirror. I was checking it out the other morning. Tess said, what are you fucking doing? I said, check this out. And I was popping my titties up and down. And like one thing when I was young, right, I always had man boobs. And I was like, I was really self-conscious of it. And I was a champion swimmer, but I didn't want to get my gear off to go in the pool to swim, which was shit because I was like, I've thrashed these people here in this fucking competition. But I was really self-conscious about having man boobs. And when I was, 14, 15, 16, I was boxing as well. And I'd be at the weigh-in, you got to strip off your clothes. I'm checking these guys out that I'm fighting, and they're ripped. And my man always said, don't worry about them, mate. Don't you fucking worry about them. You'll smash these boys. They've just got muscles. That'll just suck all their oxygen out of them. Don't you worry about them, Ben. You don't have to be ripped to win. And I didn't, but I thought, fuck, it would be nice. Yeah, would have been really nice.
It's much nicer to be shredded than fat, right?
Oh, shit, yeah, man. Like when I first signed up with you guys, I was 114. I was fluctuating between 114 and 118 kilos, right? And still pushing myself hard.
So 114 to 118 kilos, and now you're down in the 90s.
Oh, yeah, I'm at 90. I'm at 91 kilo. I fluctuate between 90 and 92 kilos at the moment.
How do you feel with that much? That's a lot of weight to lose. How different do you feel?
Really good. I do my shoelaces up in the morning. I don't have to fucking breathe out. Yeah. So it's really good.
Right. So I've got that problem at the moment. I got to do her shoelaces up all the time.
Yeah, that's a different
She's
story.
not fat. She's pregnant.
there's two of them there, man. She's doing great. What a marvelous thing. How's it feel? It feels awesome. It really feels awesome. And the inflammation come out of the body as well too. Sort of.
What do you notice there when you say inflammation coming out of your body?
Well, I've noticed that I'm nowhere near as sore. I'm actually a bit sore at the moment because I've been working hard. Like I've jumped back on the tools to keep my skills sharp because I'm currently building a couple more golden gooses, as you know about the golden goose. I'm going to have a flock of them before, probably the next 3 months. I reckon I'll have a few.
What are you doing?
I'm pimping out a house that I built from a dream. Like I woke up from this dream about 5 or 6 years ago. Well, it's actually funny. When I was 21, I bought this place in Claremont, and I used to stand out the back of that place there, and I look up into the hills, and up on the hill there was blocks of land that no one was building houses on them because they were tricky blocks of land to build houses on. And I thought, and I said to a few people back then, I said, I'm going to build a house up there one day. That's going to set me up. I'm going to build a house up there. And within about 2 years, I bought a block up there, and before I bought the block, though, I had this dream. I was living in this place, and I woke up and I was designing houses for a guy at the time, sort of really ultra energy efficient, eco-sustainable houses. We won the best project Green Smart Award in 2013. He took all the credit for it, but it was all my work, which I didn't care. It was like, oh, well, you can have the attention. And so I was designing all these wicked homes and learnt all this cool shit. I was getting paid to make mistakes. It was fucking great. And I learned all these cool things about energy efficient designs. And I've probably got a black belt in construction, I reckon, and engineering. So I adopted all these different things, and then they started flying me over to do presentations to professors and the head of the Swiss Solar Institute in Canberra and all this sort of shit. But anyway, I had this dream, and I drew the plan up, and then I went to the people that own the house, own the blocks, and they were good friends of my family ever since I was like 13, and good mates with Dad. And I said to him, I want to buy that block up there, and I don't have the dough. And they said, that's all right, we'll just give it to you, and you can just pay us off in cash when you get that fucking money for your house. I went, sweet. So I bought the block, and the design was pretty out there. It was like 8.5 meter high concrete panels, and the biggest one's 3.1 meters wide by 8.5 high. And the engineer said, you can't do this. I said, why not? It's going to stand up. It's going to do all the things that it needs to do structurally. So there's no way you can get those panels over the edge of that fucking bank. I went, well, you just tick off the box and I'll get it done. So I've done it. And during the course of the build, though, man, there was some interesting happens. I went through about 4 different relationships, and, you know, I was bringing up different kids and spent a lot of time doing a lot of shit for other people. So it stalled and started, and, you know, got it finished now, and I'm just Tess and I pimping that out. It's a pretty cool house. It's got sensational views, and it's just along the road from Mona, and it's a really out there sort of design. It's probably, I think it's about a 9-star energy efficient home. So it maintains about 15 to 16 degrees all year round without any heating or cooling, provided that you put the blinds up and down so you can stop the sun coming in when it's getting too hot. So Tess and I have just been cruising around. I was going to sell it before I come to the abundant thing, the abundant session. And after listening to Grant, I went, fuck this, I ain't selling. I was coming back on the Monday. I had a doctor's appointment, and then I was going to the house to meet this lady there, and I'm pretty sure she was going to buy it. So I sent her a message when I got on the plane. Whitey and I got on the plane, and we got delayed in Sydney. So we're sitting on the plane for an hour and a half before it took off. And I just sent her a message, said, nah, sorry, the house is not for sale now. Sorry if there's been any inconvenience. And we've been cruising around buying all this old school Art Deco retro furniture that's sort of one-off stuff. You can't really, I could make it, but it'd take a long time and it'd cost a lot of money. We've been cruising around this week and last week and picking up all the furnishings for it. And I'm going down there tomorrow to weld up these steel panels, like to let them go rusty. So that's a big screen, and that's going to be a golden goose. So we've punched the numbers on that, and got the second bus. I've been collecting more materials for that, and
that's your the bus, the Airbnb bus.
Yeah, the Huntington Tier Forest.
You guys are dominating with that, man.
Yeah, man. That's we've got someone staying down there now. They're in for the next 4 nights or something. I think we've had 100% occupancy since November last year, and we only opened in August. It's just got a really good vibe about it, and everything's, you know, custom made. And the materials that we use, like some of the stuff I've been collecting since I was in my early 20s, and some of the, you know, the timbers are from a 180-year-old place in Battery Point. And I think that having materials and using them like that, but actually creating a comfortable space that's warm and it has its own energy. Plus the location, you wake up in the morning, there's freaking wedge-tail eagles flying above you that live on site, and wombats and kangaroos running around, and it's just got a real, and it's off the grid, man. You can't come in and plug your hairdryer in, you'll freaking ruin the batteries, or the inverter will just shut off. So it's sort of really designed for people just to come and chill. It's well exceeded our business plan, put it that way.
Well, so if we go back a little bit and bring up, you know, the shirt that you're wearing. So like, obviously, by the way, context for everyone who's listening, we run events as well, and Benny's come to a couple of them. For you, what was, where should we start? Let's start with abundant first, then we'll go to uncommon. So abundance day 2, how would you describe abundant? Like, what was it for you?
It was a lesson. It was a learning lesson. It was a tool to put in the box to keep, you know, it was a tool that I was missing, really. And it reinforced some of the ideas that I had, but self-doubt can creep in when they're your ideas. You can go, oh, maybe that's not going to be right, or this is not going to work, or just things like that can happen. And when I heard Grant talk and yourself and then Steve, I went, oh, hang on a minute. All this stuff that I've been telling myself for ages is true. My truth is shared. That's shared by some other people that's their truth as well. It's like, oh, you're right, I'm on the right path. It was a bit of a reinforcing session, but the lesson from with debt, like I've got big balls, so I'm willing to put them on the line. You know, like I'll roll the dice, so to speak. and I'm not afraid to lose as long as I'm trying. And when Grant was talking about the debt, and my parents were like, "Oh, you got to be debt free, you got to be debt free, and you don't want to have, you want to own everything that you've got and all this sort of stuff." And I'm thinking, well, yeah, debt's not that bad now. And it was really nice hearing it from Grant and how you leverage it and the way you can work it with your tax and stuff like that. So it was a really good personal wealth session, but also the communication. I'd done the NLP course, must have been February 2019. So when Steve started talking about different ways of approaching thinking and questions to ask yourself this question, ask that person that question, it sort of brought back the NLP stuff, which was really difficult because I'd done the first 4 days of that course and I went home, and I was married at the time, and shortly thereafter I wasn't married, put it that way. Yeah, no, it was like the NLP was powerful because this woman just was not a very good communicator. She was just a statement maker, and it was good to touch back on the NLP, but yeah, and being surrounded by people that were trying to better themselves as well was a really great thing to do.
Well, so when we run Abundant, we've got 30 awesome dudes in a room, and you've got guys who are going from, starting out their journey of really creating a fuckload of wealth to dudes who are, doing $100 million deals. What was it like for you to be just surrounded by a bunch of dudes who are all moving in the same direction, but at very different stages?
Yeah, it was interesting. It was good. It was good. Some of it completely irrelevant, like the people, but relevant in the sense that they're there and they're having a crack. But to be honest, I was really all about myself for a change. I was like, this is my time now. I've fucking had 21 different guys live in my home since I was 21 years old. I'm 38, man. I've taken fucking people off the streets. I've given them homes. I've given them jobs. I've fed them. And I've thought, fuck this. I'm over this. This is my time now. So I was there for me. It was cool hanging out with these other guys. But as you know, when Grant was up, I had a fair few questions, man. I was just going bang. I'm not one for taking notes too much. And I've got a fucking notepad half full. I learned a lot. And that was like, I don't want to sound selfish or arrogant, but man, the abundance was about me. I was like, I'm coming here, I'm going to take everything I can from this and I'm going to put into practice. And that's what I've done. So since then, with your talks about summit and that, I'm like, well, what the fuck is my summit? What am I doing? So I just sort of reverse engineer. I'm like, well, what do I like doing? And what is my golden goose? And then I thought, well, actually, I've got more than one golden goose. What's wrong with having a few of those fuckers, So
can I just translate for a sec for everyone listening? So first of all, when we're talking about a summit's like where you want to be, what you want to achieve. So if you say, I'm right here down at the bottom of the mountain, this is the top, this is where I want to be, that's your summit. And your summit's like, it's divided up into really 4 things: health, wealth, relationship, and spirituality. What we do is we start at the summit, start at the very top, map out exactly what we want to do, and then we reverse engineer after that. And then the golden goose that Ben is referring to is your money maker. It's your income generator. It comes from, I stole it from someone else, and they're using it as an analogy for the nursery rhyme, where, in the nursery rhyme, the golden goose lays the golden egg. If you look after the golden goose, it continues laying golden eggs. Whereas if you're a dummy, you neglect the golden goose and then it stops laying you golden eggs and then it dies and you lose everything, right? And so what we're doing is we're creating, having a big, wealthy, business or investment which continually churns out small amounts of gold for you continually over the years, and it grows in value as well over time. So they're the 2 things that Benny's referring to there. So for you, what are you like? How did Abundant change your perception around the golden goose and what you're going to be doing with it?
Man, well, one of the things that you said really resonated. I wrote it down, and it was don't double down on your weaknesses. And I'm like, fuck, I don't have to be good at everything. I'm good at a lot of things. So fuck it. I don't need to go, all right, let's just hone in on what I do. What it really did, the abundance session made me think about, what actually am I really good at and what makes the money? What can I focus on to make the money? Then I can pay the professionals to do the other stuff to make more money. Get that team, as Grant said, build the team. Number 6 on the wealth concepts. I started thinking about it, and I went, well, I've done the numbers. So couple of buses in the Ebden Street, man, that's more money than I could spend. Like, I could spend it, but I'd have a nasty habit. And I'm not going back there, I'm not going back there. I've been clean now. And another thing, man, I haven't had any drugs in 6 months. That's a big thing for me. Man, that's a really big thing for me because like I'd been using drugs since I was 12 years old, maybe 11. I think I started smoking dope when I was 11. So that was a big thing for me, and it's great. I'm feeling really good about it. But I looked at the investments that I've already got. I've got this wicked house that's sort of architectural, eco-sustainable, energy efficient, beautiful masterpiece sort of thing that I've just got to do a few tweaks on. And that's going to turn over a nice bit of dough. And then I've got the bus, and I've got another bus half done that's been sitting there for 12 months. That I've got all the materials for it now, like it's time to do those things. And plus I've got a loving, beautiful partner that is a genius. Like she makes more money than I ever could make, I reckon. Well, maybe not, but she makes plenty of money, and she loves me that much. She said, I think you're the most deserving person to have a gap year. So Tess is going to take care of me, which is like, fuck. I don't know how to take that.
That's a keeper, man.
Man, a year. She said, I think you're the most deserving person to have a gap year. And I'm like, what is a gap year? It's like when you can do whatever you want for a whole year. I'm like, oh, sweet. So I want to take that up, but I like to be busy. But and at the same time, I've let go of an employee that I had, and he'd been working alongside me and for me for the last 5 years, but with me for the last sort of 10 or 12 years. And it was someone that I deemed to be, one of my best mates. When I was 15, I met him, and my brother just died in a car accident. And he could see that I was really sad. I met him at TAFE when I was doing my apprenticeship. He said, "What's wrong with you?" And I said, "Oh, fuck, my brother just died like a month or so ago." And he put his arm around my shoulder and said, "Oh, well, I've got 2 other brothers. They're fuck ups, but you can have them, and we're going to adopt you." And took me up to Launceston, and he adopted me. And I just loved him to bits, man, and just thought, fucking hell, what a legend. But then I look back over the years that we've been friends now, and I think, fucking hell, it sort of come to me a few weeks ago, and I went, geez, have not been a good friend to me, and especially since you've been my employee. I've really looked after you, and I just had to let him go, which was the tough one. That was a really tough thing to do. And another friend just recently, I had to let him go out of my life too, and fuck, man, that hurt. Someone that I'd grown up with, and then I just went, nah, fuck these guys. They're having a lend to me. And it was making me angry. And, I was biting my tongue instead of saying, hey, fuck you. And, that was sort of getting me down a bit. And the construction business, my ego got the better of me about 2015, 2016. I had a business partner. Then he was my apprentice to start off with. And then I made him a business partner. And just wanted to be the best builder. So we're building these wicked homes, but the houses were costing us money. We ended up, I wasn't doing the books. He was taking care of the books and stuff. I was too busy fucking running around wanking off over the best. I'm the best builder here. Ego. And we went up 300 grand in debt and didn't have the money. I'm like, well, fuck, how'd this happen? And he said, I can't do this, and left. He said he'd pay off the debt, but he didn't. He only paid a small portion of it. So I put me head down and my ass up, and I worked sort of 13 to 16 hours a day for 6 days a week. And then on Sunday, I'd go to the Kingdom Hall and I'd pray or listen to the public talk that was on Spa. I was studying the scriptures at the time, which helped me through a lot. But sort of worked my way out of this debt hole, and everyone's saying, just go bankrupt, just fold the company up, who cares? I'm like, no fucking way. I'm not going to do this. And it took me 18 months. I paid $220,000 off in 18 months. But what it did was it made me a fucking way better businessman, because I put my prices up. I thought, this dude that was in my life at the time, he said, you need to put your prices up to see if people actually just like you or they like you because you're cheap. So I put my prices up by 40% back then, and they still wanted my work, So, well, they like me. So no worries. And then I went really hard at it. But what it did was, this is just before I contacted you, and it's I'd got onto the cusp of burning out. I don't know how far and how hard I'd have to work before I'd fucking burn out. It must be a long way. but I might have been on the cusp, I think, because I wasn't thinking too good and I wasn't feeling too good. And that sort of left the construction industry with a bad taste in my mouth. Imagine working for frigging all that hard work and that 220, 230 grand, that should have been in my pocket, you know?
Yeah, they went to someone else. Totally.
Yeah, it went to someone else and that sort of stuff. So the construction industry, I still love it. Like, I've done some cool shit today, putting up this suspended concrete slab, had to lift the steel up with my backhoe. I've got a wicked backhoe that I bought, the one I mentioned before about getting the firewood. So I floated it down to these people's house because I really like these people. And I said, look, I'll use my machine down here. You don't need an excavator operator and the expense of that. We'll just use this machine. And it's a wicked machine. But we're doing some cool stuff. And I don't want to put the tools down yet. Like, it's funny. I just really enjoy making cool stuff. Like, but I would like to do it a whole lot less and for a whole lot more money. You know, or even just making gifts for people. I say, hey, James, I'm going to send you over a gift. Oh, what is it? It's a fucking custom made hot tub. You know, stuff like
you
that.
Just give me an idea for next abundant.
Yeah. So, the construction industry's been good to me, I guess, in a way. And like, I'm glad I didn't go bankrupt because I've got 60 acres of heaven up here, you know?
Yeah.
And I've created a golden goose. Well, not I have. Tess and I created a golden goose down here with the bus. We've got a second bus that's it's a month's worth of work away, man. It's just a matter of going, hey, I'm not going to take any more work on, which I haven't. I've only got a couple of the jobs that I've quoted, and I'm like, well, focus on getting the Ebden Street Ranch on the Airbnb.
Setting boundaries. I love that, man. That's one of the things that most dudes are fucking terrible at. I mean, if we go through and we analyze like what you've been doing recently over the last couple of months, having to unfortunately cut out friends who weren't really friends to you and making the hard decisions there, saying when enough is enough, actually setting your boundaries and being able to prioritize your work. I mean, that's the most incredible stuff. I've been studying a lot on something called essentialism, which is, you know, how we all have this bullshit idea that we can do everything. You know, you were talking about before. We don't need to just make our weaknesses better, just focus on your strengths. We have this idea we can't have a weakness. We need to do it everything. We need to do it all. When in reality, it's bullshit. You're much better doing fewer things, but doing them way, way better. And doing them perfectly, because if we do that, we'll end up getting far, far greater results, which is massive. I guess one thing I love to chat with you on and look at is, you know, we chatted two and a bit years ago, you know, February 2020. How are you different now to where you were back then?
Oh man, I'm a different person.
How so?
I've tracked my health, dude. I've got a ring on that tells me how much sleep, how many Ks I've done. You know, I've got this thing on here. Like, I never would have put this on unless you recommended it. I sleep good. I focus on my health. I've, you know, cut some of the really bad, or most of the bad shit. I don't drink alcohol hardly ever. I don't take drugs now very often. You know, like, it's all the things that I essentially done a lot of. When I first started with JCF, man, I was still fucking smashing the coke and the vets and fucking ket and whatever. You know, I was into it for a little bit. But then I went, oh, hang on. And then you hooked me up with the supplement regime. First of all, I was like, oh, fuck, $300 a month. You know, this and then that. And I'm like, oh, well, something resonated. My health is my wealth. You know, like, I can be unhappy for a fucking short period or a long period of time. Then I could be unhealthy for a short period or a long period of time. So I decided, well, I just want to be fucking happy every day. I don't want to let shit stress me out. And I used to have a wicked temper. Like, someone, fuck, man, like, I'd just go off, you know, like, it wasn't short, but I'd let all this stuff build up. I'm thinking, this is super unhealthy. Like, I need to get some control over this. And that's where Christian and yourself and watching the videos. And one thing I remember, I used to love the group calls that you done. And we're talking all them dudes, man. I miss that. We'd have that chat every Thursday or Tuesday, I think it was. Fuck,
there's a plan to bring him back. Don't you worry.
Yeah, man. Let's get that back on. I'm in on that. Like, that was a bit of a community thing for me then. Like, I could listen to other people's stuff going on. But getting back to your question, how am I different now? I'm way more focused, a much better partner. I'm a much better communicator. I'm more loving. What else am I? What's different? What is different? I'm fucking 90 kilos, dude. That's different. Yeah. Like I hadn't come down below 100 kilos for years, man, for years and years. And I was still fighting at 100 and something. I was, I'm that far off 6 foot. Like I'm 4 centimeters away from being 6 foot. But at 114 kilos at the Pacific Champions as a fat white belt, man, I was fighting dudes that were fit at 130 kilos and 18, 19, 20-year-old guys because I was like, now I could go and compete. I'm in a couple of weight divisions down. I'm like, fuck, oh, now you're in trouble. Yeah, so that's a big difference.
The biggest change, if I can interrupt, the biggest change I've noticed in you, I know you're going to say your sex life, that's always a good one to cover, but the biggest thing I've noticed in you is your level of leadership. Like, I don't know if you've noticed it, but the way that you lead around guys and the way you're able to actually motivate those around you, that has probably been the biggest change that I've noticed since we've been working with you, and the direction and the trajectory at which you're going. It's like everything you do right now, you're doing it on double speed. You might be doing less things, but everything that you're doing, you're getting it done faster and you're getting it done way better. Huntington, your bus is a testament to that. I mean, fuck, seriously, where else gets booked out every single night for 8 months? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, man. Well, look, it definitely, I reckon it's got a lot to do with the way I can think clearer now. I'm healthy. I'm fit. I'm not waking up. I bounce out of bed at 5 o'clock in the morning. I woke up the other day at 3 o'clock in the morning. I was ready to go to work. I'm like, what the fuck? Because I've been going to bed at a regular time, man. I turn my phone on to freaking airplane mode. I don't have Facebook on my phone anymore. I barely check it out. I might spend 10 or 15 minutes a day. I was spending 8 hours a day. And I was working fucking 12 hours a day. So I was slipping it in between, having a crap, going. I was looking at it on the fucking on the way to work in the cars. Like, this is bullshit. So I'm way more focused, and my leadership, I can motivate people. I'm just lucky, man. My old man's a legend. Like, he got named the coach of the century in the Oatlands District Football Association. Now, for those people that don't know what the Oatlands District Football Association is, it's probably one of the toughest, hardest played football in Australia, AFL, and the country football. Champions have come out of the country football, but man, people used to go up and play country football because it was fucking like you could have a fight and not go to jail for it. It was full on, and they got named the coach of the century up there. Like he coached 13 grand finals and played in 18 grand finals. But I grew up as a kid around that and watched him, and he could just motivate people to do the most insane shit ever. Like I remember once, there's a guy named Brett Ball. And they were playing against Oatlands. There was a dude that he ended up playing football for the old man, this guy that he was playing against at the time. And before the game started, Dad pulled Brett aside and said, Brett, you've got one job to do today. And they said, yeah, what's that, Bear? What's that? I said, today, when I sing out now, Brett, you've got to turn around and you've got to punch David Ayres in the face as hard as you can that he cannot continue the game. The first bounce of the ball, the old man sang out, now, Brett, I'm sitting in the interchange box. Sorry, Brett Ball's just gone, bang, punch David Ayres. Rock, his name was Rock. He was a champion, like he was a leading goal kicker in the association for 5 years straight, right? He laid Rock out, couldn't go back on. I think they got an ambulance there or some shit, and took off. Brett Balls just ran off the ground and ran into the freaking the change rooms. Dad's fucking gone in after him. So me as a kid, I've followed him in. What's going on? Brett's there crying. He's crying. Dad said, what the fuck's going on, Brett? He said, Bear, I've never done anything like that in my life, man. Dad said, oh, you've done a good job. Stay there. So I grew up around this sort of stuff, and, they won, I think they held a record for, they're called the Ross Army. It was Ross where I grew up. They won back-to-back premierships in 92 and 93, and they didn't lose a game for 2 seasons. And and I was playing under-16 football at 10 years old, and we won in 1992 and 1993. Dad was coaching us as well. And at the 93 grand final, what he did was he got his team, he said, come on, we're going out in the field early. Got out in the field, and then he instructed me, he said, right, I want you to line up on either side of the runway where the guys come out, and they were playing Kempton, and Kempton were these rough, they were maniacs too. It was all full on. There was plenty of drug users that run around high on amphetamines and charging around and, having a taste in bloody half time. They've run out onto the ground, and what Dad did, he lined them up on either side of whether they ran at his team, Ross' team, and we clapped them onto the field. And as the blokes were running out, all pumped up, you could see on their faces that they're looking at two rows of men that they're about to go to play against, go to war with, basically at a grand final. It was a big thing. Like, there used to be 5,000 or 6,000 people at Oaklands to go to the freaking grand finals, man. It was a big thing. So they've clapped them onto the ground, and just psychologically, it just twisted the dudes' heads. The Kempton guys just went to shit. They didn't know what was going on. They'd never been clapped on the ground for it. It had never been seen before in friggin' Oaklands Football Association. And the umpire came over and said, Greg, you can't do this. He says, nowhere in the rule books that you can't do this. We're clapping them on and congratulating them for getting this far. Piss off. And the umpire left and went, but then they just absolutely annihilated them, man. It was really inspirational. And like, I've got stories like that for days, man. Dad,
yeah, you've got a story or two, that's for sure.
He's done some. Dad was just a legend, man. So growing up with him, he could motivate me and my brother to do all sorts of awesome shit and bad shit if we had to. And he could talk, he could walk the walk as well. He's a beast. But
that power of communication is something, man. And I think the leadership is one of the most important attributes that a man can have, because a man, like as a man, no matter what you are, what you do, you always end up having to go into that position of leadership because it's who we are, either within your family or within your crew, within your business. You always end up that way. But man, I've been really stoked that we've been able to have you on this journey, because fuck, it's been a wild one. And I would love to get you on the potty again in about 6 or 12 months and see how many of these golden geese you've got running around, these little cash cows.
I'll have a little flock going, brother.
This little flock.
Yeah, and then I'll probably have a whole lot more time to do other things. And I reckon there'll be a ton of firewood given away. And
mate, the boys at JCF, we're going to be doing some really cool shit. Really, really cool shit. I'm excited because you see everyone. I was just talking with Kevin before, Kevin Timms. I interviewed him the other day as well. And, mate, he's going up. He's doing some big stuff. Marcus Norton, he's doing some big stuff. All the boys are doing massive things. Alan Temby, like all these guys are absolutely dominating. It's a cool crew. But, dude, thank you so much for coming on, man, because we'll wrap it up there. But, dude, I loved having you on. I love the stories. I love your story and what you're doing. And I'm very grateful, as is Christian, to have you as a part of this crew.
Thanks, brother. I love you guys too, man. Love you, brother.
Love you too, man.
You have a great night. And all the best with the baby, eh?
Thanks, bro. I'm pumped for that, eh? It's unreal.
Oh, man, it's going to blow your mind. I'll tell you what, I don't think you're ready. Oh, well, no, I'm not going to say that, but it's just going to snap you out.
Bro. I'm ready. I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
Man, I'll tell you what, when my son was born, I wanted to name him Ruben. Just before we wrap it up, I was definitely going to name him Ruben. Anyway, I watched his mother give birth to him. I said, you can fucking name him whatever you like.
What a way to end.
See you,
Thanks for coming on, bro.
Man, my pleasure. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed the video. If you got something out of it and you want to learn more, click the link below or type in High Performance Conversations with James Cant, and you'll be able to check out all the podcasts that we've done. We cover a stack of different topics, everything from getting your mojo back, overcoming anxiety, self-doubt, self-esteem, and learning from some of the industries and some of the world's top performers in both business and in health. Look forward to having you on there.